Grateful Day Queens, and welcome to Season 4 of QueenTruthSpoken Podcast. I'm your host, Zenobia Queen Jackson, and this particular podcast, QueenTruthSpoken, is brought to you by QueenZenoviaJ.shop, where we are in the business of stimulating your mind as well as your fashion. QueenTruthSpoken Podcast is also sponsored by Zenobia Jackson Coaching, where I am in the business of helping women find their way to holistic wellness, purpose, and peace. Honey, it is time for us to tackle our realities with God's eternal truth, and I am here for it. In this season 4 has been all about helping women to understand that they are not alone. And on today's show, the final episode, not farewell, not goodbye, but see you later, we have none other than Queen Coach, I like to call her Queen Coach, Cassandra James-Weathersby. She is here, honey, to let us know that help is here. So sit back, take out your notebooks, and I need you all to pay attention because this queen is going to be dropping some gems for us on today. So sit back and let's get this truthful tea. Let's go. All right. Welcome, Queen Coach Cassandra.
Hi, how are you? I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you are here. I thank you so much for simply your time and your heart in what you're doing. As I was sharing with some of the people that's been asking about the podcast, and really excited to hear about the mental wealth and the mental health surrounding Black women. I said Cassandra is one of those women, this particular episode, you really got to tune in on because she is wrapping the bow around this gift that God has given us. You're bringing us a wealth of knowledge and information that we need. So once again, my crown goes off to you, Cassandra. I thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it is truly my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is, of course, very dear and near to my heart. I know that it affects all our lives in so many ways. So I'm glad to just be able to be here. So thank you again.
Awesome. So let's just kick off this conversation by you telling us, who is Cassandra James-Weathersby?
Okay. I am a survivor turned thriver of my own struggles with mental wellness, domestic violence, and other traumas. I am now a coach where I coach women and help them reach their full potential. I am in the business of helping the healers. That is pretty much my target of women who, like me, work in the helping fields, but they need some help themselves. They recognize whether it's their business coaching, whether it's some just support. That is what I do, is I help them through support groups, through coaching and whatnot.
Awesome. So God has used you to answer the question that so many women that are in leadership position ask who helps the coach? Who coaches the coach? Who mentors the mentor?
Yes.
Who becomes the therapist for the therapist?
Yes. Absolutely.
I love it. And how long have you been in this profession, and why did you choose it? I'm hearing that you've had some, not only experiences, with helping other women or seeing the struggle or need with other women, but you have some personal experience as well.
Yes. I have been in the profession of coaching and peer support for about 5 years now, a little over 5 years, professionally, coaching and leaning more into where I'm called to be starting this year. So yay, God. But I've been doing this work like so many of us. I've been doing this work for a long time, and you just didn't know that you were doing this work.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you were motivating anyway. You were encouraging anyway. You were solutions oriented anyway, and you were doing these things, and you had no idea that it was really valuable to people,
Mm.
that it was really helping others. So for probably well over 20 plus years have I been, helping women all that I could, and just did not even see the pieces coming together
Yeah.
until the Lord did what he did.
Yeah. Because often we hear people saying, "Oh my gosh, you're such an encourager," or "Oh my God, you're such an inspiration." And in your mind, it's kind of like, I'm just doing what comes natural, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But and I realized there are so many phases and there are so many levels to reaching our full potential.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that life's journey that we're all on. When you think about holistic wellness, because that's something that I myself specialize in. Is there a common theme in women when it comes to our struggle of achieving holistic wellness, or even thinking that we can have it? It's kind of like certain parts of our life we may have, together, and then other parts like, well, that may not be for me. For example, some women may be doing really, really well when it comes to their spiritual life, but then they're struggling with their eating.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or on the flip side, they may be really well athletically, taking care of their bodies, eating healthy, but really don't have a clue about their purpose.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? So
Yes.
do you see like there may be a common thing with women that we don't really know how to even come about having this holistic wellness? Because I'm gonna let you answer. I'm not gonna say anything else. You
No, it's okay.
answer.
But yes, I do. It's I guess the themes kind of coincide together. One is just the permission and understanding that you are worthy to even have that wellness in each area of your life.
Yes.
That it doesn't have to be a far off dream. It doesn't have to be a sometime or a someday, that it can be something you're actively working towards,
Mm-hmm.
and you can literally be well in each area. It doesn't mean that you'll be perfect. It doesn't mean that you will have it all together all the
Yeah.
time, but
Yeah.
it does mean that you can reach a level of wellness in each area of your life.
Exactly. Exactly.
The
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You
The
good.
other thing is just that you don't have to do it all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a lot at the beginning of the year of these New Year's resolutions.
I don't do them.
Me either. I stopped, right? But you hear all this. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my finances together. I'm going to get my relationships right. I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get that right. Well, yes, that's wonderful, right? And there to some degree, there is working in micro ways on some of those other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're not built for multitasking, no matter how good some of us think we are. We literally aren't. You cannot give it all your full attention.
That's right.
Hard lesson I had to learn myself. So if you're going to concentrate on your finances, and then you think you're going to also concentrate on your mental wellness, and then you're going to concentrate on your fitness, and you're going to concentrate on your relationships, something is going to go lacking.
Yep.
So it's kind of mastering, or not really mastering, because it's a never get there. It's always a journey, but it's getting to a place where you're comfortable at, or with a goal in one area, and then moving on to maybe concentrate on another area.
Yeah.
And we're oftentimes in a space where we feel like we have to do it all, but you really don't. And you really don't have to make a grand announcement or anything like that. You just take note and start to do some of these things, these small changes, and go.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's something that I speak about in my book, Be Well, and something that our family does, because for a long time, we were trying to have a balanced life. And when you even think about like a balance, like a scale, and you put something on this side and something on that side, that have two different weights, it's not going to be balanced, right?
That's right.
And so one thing God taught me was like, no, like having a balanced life is a myth. Like throw it away. I mean, it's like, it's no good. It's about harmony. And harmony is all about where you are in the season of your life.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? And so I love
Yes.
you gave the example about, if you're trying to get your finances together and then you're trying to work out and you're trying to do this, and then all of a sudden, like, you're going to feel overwhelmed
That's
because
right.
you're not built to multitask. Listen, Queens, I hope you are writing these gems down because she is dropping them. Okay. Like, I got a notepad. All right. I'm writing these gems down. So make sure you Queens are getting this information, these truthful tidbits. One thing I realized as women and working in this same profession as yourself is that in order for us to reach the whole woman, we're in the business of helping the whole woman to become whole.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's
Yes.
why holistic wellness is so near and dear to my heart, because as you stated earlier, it is possible for us to be well in these areas, every area of our life.
Every area.
But we have to be very strategic and wise on how we go about doing it. And so
Absolutely.
at this time, Queen, what are some real and relevant things that we can do to begin to secure our holistic wellness?
The very first thing is literally give yourself permission.
Okay.
You do not have to be on all the time. You do not have to, you don't have to be Superwoman. Girl, hang that cape up.
Come on.
Hang it up.
Come
Hang
on.
it up. As a matter of fact, don't even hang it out. Take it outside, put in the garbage. Okay? Because you do not have to be everything to everyone. And that's a whole nother thing right there. After you give yourself permission, find yourself affirming spaces. That is important because who we are around, it matters, right? So if you are around a lot of negativity, or if you are around people who are not affirming you, not necessarily out of malice, because they just don't know how, but the effect will still be the same. So find affirming spaces, whether it is on social media. There are some wonderful groups that are just pouring out into women these days. I love what I see happening in social media. And while there were terrible things about the pandemic, this was one of the positive ones that you saw these spaces burst, right? So whether it's finding a space online, whether it's finding a support group, right? Whether it is literally going in person to some of these things.
Yes.
Find those spaces that will affirm you, that will tell you the truth, but will also give you tidbits and information so that you can kind of stay on the up and up. After you find those affirming spaces, start making those little incremental changes for you. Get yourself a sleep hygiene routine so you can get you some rest. We greatly underestimate rest for ourselves. And it affects everything. And that is, if you ladies, if you are like me, where you are affected with bipolar disorder or depression, and so your sleep is always off. Even I have a sleep routine. Even if I'm not asleep, I'm still in the bed resting, right? So even if you have that, find yourself a sleep routine so that your body can rest. It makes all the difference in the world. Additionally, check out some of the resources. Therapy for Black girls if you need a therapist, right? And here's another thing, as pro-Black as we are, and as much as we understand the need for that, sometimes, guess what? Your therapist don't have to be Black.
She had to whisper that one.
I had to whisper that one because I believe and I do know that there is a difference in that we do need that. But my first therapist was a little bitty white guy. But the 5 years that I spent with him was literally life-changing. It broke up a lot of that fallow ground that needed to be broken up. Those beliefs that I had that were not right, the guilt that I had and the shame that I had, and helping me to see the difference so that I could move forward in healing. Okay? So you can find that with a good therapist. A good therapist, whether they're Black, white, purple, or polka dotted, will be able to help you do that. But the work has to be done. And it's not always comfortable, which is why you need the affirming spaces. Because sometimes you need to be able to say, "Woo-saw, child, I don't know if I'm going back." You're going back, but you need to be able to say that out loud and not be judged. Okay. NAMI. Okay. The National Alliance for Mental Illness. They have support groups. And if you don't go to the support groups, they at least have a lot of information, like on their website. If you follow them on social media, they'll have different information as well. If you love and support somebody that is struggling as well, you need that support as well, right? Because it can be difficult. So they have resources for that too.
Let me stick a pin right there and there, and we're
Go
gonna,
ahead.
I'm glad that you shared that, resources for those that are caregivers,
Mm-hmm.
to those that are experiencing, mental health issues, because that is overlooked. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I had a young lady that came on the show, and she talked about being a caregiver and the stress and strain that come along with that
Mm-hmm.
responsibility, but so often people overlook them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
think about, with the life changes that we're all experiencing, it can be I don't want to say somewhat, depending on the person, traumatic as well for them.
Oh, yes.
You
Oh,
know what
most
I'm saying?
certainly.
And so I'm glad that you shared the National Alliance for Mental Illness, because you said they deal with the person that's actually experiencing the mental illnesses along with their loved ones. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good. That's good.
Oh, yes. Yes. Great resource. Other great resources that you can check out are the Mighty. They too have different resources as well for those going through and those not. Other cool thing about the Mighty is they cover a gazillion illnesses. If it's an illness or a condition, there is probably support on the Mighty for it. From some of the rarest things to some of the more common things. And that is because it is consumer driven, it is person driven. So these are actually people, real live people that are sharing their stories, that are saying, hey, this is what I did to make it through, you know?
Spell
So
that. The Mighty.
yes, just like being mighty, MIGHTY.
Got you.
It's the Mighty. And you can literally Google it. And it's just a wonderful community. There are many different newsletters that you could sign up for and whatnot. And if you are one that maybe you are in a better place and you want to share your story, the Mighty is a nice, safe space to do that as well.
Awesome.
Okay. And always, Black Women Do Heal. You can join us for our support groups and whatnot as well, and our virtual brunches, and checking out our social media too.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Queen Cassandra, you, with everything I've heard about from the very beginning of your heart, why you got off into this business slash servant service atmosphere space. I know there are times in your life where you're like, okay, I got to take a step back. I need to reset. I'm feeling heavy right now. When you're experiencing, your moments in your time, what has been your go-to scripture? What has been that word from God that has really brought Cassandra back to a place of peace in her life?
Mhm. Jeremiah 29:11.
That is a
That
fact.
is that is it for so long. Um, and that is just something that you deal with when you're surviving childhood trauma, when you're surviving domestic violence. There's a part of you that no longer, if ever, depending on how long the trauma started, really believes that you are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so even as a young person, I had a love for God, but I didn't really understand that he loved me, that he loved me so much, that he literally had a plan for me, that he thought about me in such a unique way. I didn't internalize that. And it was probably around the time I started doing peer support, and I was reading, and it clicked.
Mm.
It just clicked after all the years of being in church, sitting on a church pew dying,
Mm.
hearing the word, can recite the word, right?
Yeah.
Sing the songs.
Yeah.
But that day it clicked that he loved me so much. Not just the world, but he loved me so much that he had plans for me. He had intentions for me.
Yes.
It it was just, and that's it. So when I need that reminder, I go back to that, because I have to internalize it's not just about everybody else.
Yeah.
It's not just about the people that I'm serving, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But it is also very, very, very much about his love for me.
About Cassandra. Yes, it is.
And that's such a safe, wonderful love to be and to recognize that it's for you.
Yes, it is, Queen. Yes, it is. And that word has is a present tense. It didn't say had. It says has. So every single day, even when you step up to the plate, even when you hit the mark, even when you feel like you can run a little bit longer, even when you feel like I got to stop and take a break, he says those plans are still in action, are still in motion.
Motion, okay. And it's just that thing. It just brings me back when you feel overwhelmed and stressed out, because it happens. Your coach has a coach. I have a coach and a therapist. Your coach should have a coach, and if your therapist should have a therapist.
That's right.
But even after all of that, and even after being blessed with a great pastor and great brothers and sisters in God, there are still moments, because we're human, that we deal with those things, right? That it gets heavy. And that is the scripture that brings me back. And I'm so grateful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So, Queen, how can women connect with Cassandra James-Weathersby?
Very, very easy. You can reach us at www.BlackWomenDoHeal.org. Come on and visit us there. You can also find us online on Facebook. Our handle is at BlackWomenDoHeal. And women is Black WMN Do Heal. And on Instagram at BlackWomenDoHeal, all spelled out.
Awesome. Well, Queen, I'm so grateful once again to have you. That is some amazing information that you shared with us. So once again, thank you for being a guest on QueenTruthSpoken Podcast.
Oh, truly my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Now that's Queen. It's some truthful tea for you and I to sip on. This concludes season 4 of QueenTruthSpoken Podcast. I know that we have reached the heart and mind, soul, and spirit of so many women during this season, because that is what QueenTruthSpoken Podcast is all about. Make sure you subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and now on YouTube at QueenTruthSpoken TV. Until next time, I pray that God's purpose, power, and unlimited possibilities overtake you. God bless.